Great. I think it's very interesting. The coffee cherry advance, these are very interesting because it has so much interest, because it had been spoken about long, way before we even came on board. Still a lot of expectation. The farmers were expected that you guys come in, give the money immediately, but then look at the regulations. So what are the regulations that are governing the coffee cherry advance revolving fund? The first regulations were published in, I think, in November 2019. It was called Public Finance Management Act, Coffee Cherry Advanced Regulation 2019. It had stipulated what needed to be done. Now, this, as part of the public participation, it was published by Treasury, their website, and then later they actually published on the newspapers when they're requesting farmers to be available for public participation. That was sometimes in January. That was, we had just been agreed, but it wasn't really our job. That was the Treasury's responsibility. And they went out seeking views from members of the public all across, and then they incorporated the views of those, and then, as expected by the law, they republished those regulations, I think, in March. That is when now they regulate the PFMA Act, Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund Regulations 2020. Once they have been republished, then the next step is for them to go to be taken to Parliament, the Committee of Delegated Registration, and then they go through their process, and then the Treasury now is able now to, when they give feedback to Treasury, and then they become, that's when the regulations can become effective. We got a feedback from Treasury in June that now the process has been completed. So it's like from January to June, we couldn't do anything. Although we had the money, actually it's very important to say that the government Treasury released the money, the 2.7 billion to new KPCU like in March. So I think, remember, so we had the money, although it's with us in account, we could not administer that money until the whole process was completed. And that was completed in March, and that is now when we began. Who is eligible? As per the PFMA Act, Coffee Cherry Advanced Revolving Fund, Regulations 2020. It must be Kenyan, that is so. Number two, you must be a farmer registered with a cooperative. So you must be working with a cooperative. Two, or you are an estate farmers growing your coffee on below 20 acres. So if you are too large, over above 20, then you become too large for any. But if you are below 20, then you qualify. However, there's the second now part on that eligibility criteria is very clear. It states that for estates, they must be affiliated to new KPCU. Specifically, it means they must have their coffee milled by the new KPCU. And why is that? Coffee Cherry Advanced Revolving Fund, it is a revolving fund, so you have to be paid for it, and the security for that money is your coffee. So while it is easier to get with cooperative, regardless of where they are marketing, for individual farmers estate, we must guarantee that we have their coffee. As DKPCU, as the department administrator, they have their coffee. Because an individual estate, many things can happen. Somebody can take loan, sell the farm tomorrow, and move. Unlike an estate, unlike a cooperative, so for cooperative, you don't have to mill or market your coffee through new KPCU for you to qualify. But for estate, you must mill your coffee or some of your coffee through new KPCU that will stand as guarantee for the amount you are going to borrow. So that is number one, what I call eligibility criteria. I hope that one I have addressed. The second point about this regulation is the amount. How much can you borrow? And what levels can you borrow? Number one is if you borrow as cherry, so you must have cherry, you must be harvested, you must have cherry. The cherry, with regard to cherry, you can borrow up to 20 shillings per kilo of cherry. So if you have delivered to your factory 1,000 kilos, you qualify up to 20,000. If you have delivered 100, you qualify for 2,000. So is 20 shillings per kilo of cherry. However, you can also borrow at the parchment level when the coffee has already been delivered to the mills, when it's already parchment advance. And for parchment advance, you qualify up to 40% of the value of that coffee. So the coffee, the 40% of that value is what you qualify to borrow. What that means is that once your coffee has been released, after they do a proper pre-milling analysis, the quality of coffee identified, it is very easy to come up with a value. You can using the Nairobi Coffee Exchange and other international prices, you can easily come up with the value of coffee at that point. So let's say the parchment you have delivered is valued to say is 100,000. Then you qualify for about 40,000, 40%. So that's what I wanted to say. So I've now dealt with the eligibility criteria. We've come with the amount that you can borrow, and then we go to the interest. What is the interest rate for this fund? The interest, in fact, not even an interest rate, it is an administration fee of 3% that is recovered before you get your money. So if you apply today for 10,000, the amount you will get 9,700. They have to do the 3% will be knocked off. So that, and then, and even if you borrow the money like now, July or August, when you have and you'll only pay when your coffee is sold, that there's no other amount to pay. So it's 3% administration fee that is recovered upfront. It is upfront. So that's normally how it is. And then finally, regard to repayment, the repayment that we will say it is the first charge. The regulations will be split. That is the first charge in when it comes to the recovering the cost of coffee. So once you have sold, whoever the marketer is will, depending on they have already signed the form, if it is new KPC, you would recover that money and go straight away to return it to the fund. With another buyer, we have there will be between the fund administrator and the cooperative who is borrowing, and then the marketer. There will be a tripartite agreement that immediately you sell, you are able to remit the money. So that is now what is happening. I think the other final thing I can say regarding Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund is this amount is available to those who have the cherry. Right now, the area that is harvesting cherry largely is Meru region, and a bit of we have had some few farmers in Muranga that had a better array crop that they wanted to bury. So that's what. But at this point, this is an array crop, and whatever is not this, we don't have a lot of. So we expect a lot of borrowers to come from now the main crop that starts from October, November. That's when we expect a lot. And that's right now the new KPC team is putting in place the systems to ensure that by the time that process is completed, they will be able to disburse monies to the farmers as they will apply. I want to state very clearly that Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund is available to all Kenyan coffee producing farmers all over the country, in all counties. What had happened is that from June now, the team began sensitization. I think New KPC is very grateful to CS Honorable Peter Munye that have really gone out, really sensitizing people about this Cherry Advance. We also know that the issue of COVID had slowed down on the meetings, but I think right now, New KPC team, the management and the rest team, they are now going around sensitizing, farmers on how they need to apply for this money. And I think they are looking at the key entry point to be the cooperatives. So ideally is to go to these cooperatives, give the forms, and I think what we are looking at, maybe go to this, train the clerks, because the clerks there's no cooperative without a clerk. Train the clerks on how to fill the form. So the farmer will come there, fill the form, sign, and then New KPC will arrange with the cooperative when they go collect those forms, and immediately the forms are received by New KPC. Within one week, the money, the forms are processed and the money paid, and this money is paid direct to the farmer's account. There are farmers who, like the last two, who actually pay direct to their M-Pesa. So it depends on how there are farmers who that one has happened. So I would like to reassure all Kenyans that the coffee growers that from the mini crop as they have the cherry, the process is made to ensure that this money is accessed by all Kenyans.